Many years ago, I came across this game engine called LÖVE, which I talk about on this channel quite a bit. Knowing essentially nothing about it at the time, I decided to just jump right in and start working on a game with the intention of learning everything along the way. I decided to make a Metroidvania platformer where you use the mouse to shoot projectiles at enemies. This game was called Destination 44. It took me about a year to make, part-time since I was in college at the time. I was pretty proud to have a fully completed game, but here's the thing, it wasn't very good. Let me set the stage real quick about what this game actually is. You play as this little character, and you gain elemental powers to fight enemies and travel deeper into the cave. Along the way, you can find new power-ups which allow you to get past certain obstacles that were blocking your path from before. There's little puzzles, boss fights, and I even came up with a simple story to go along with it. Overall, this game is fine, especially being one of my first games from several years back, using a new engine. But the visuals are really basic and not polished at all, the gameplay was repetitive and buggy, and I just finished playing through the whole thing again to make this video, and here's the biggest problem. It's super boring. And I didn't make this video to comment on game design principles, but its boringness stems from the game being really big and ambitious, while having next to no depth. There's 44 floors, hence the name, of essentially the same gameplay, and it's a pretty repetitive experience all the way through. And it took me a little over 3 hours to play through the whole thing. Now, so far, I've just been bashing this game for its flaws, but I should reassure you, making this game was one of the most important learning experiences in my entire game development career. I jumped into it unprepared, not really being familiar with the technology whatsoever, but that is what forced me to learn. Reading about and studying a game engine, or anything for that matter, will only get you so far. What's more important is doing or building something. It's a rocky process, I'll admit, but the cycle of getting stuck on something, doing some research, and eventually figuring it out, that's where you really solidify your skills. So, although making Destination 44 gave me some great experience and I had a lot of fun developing it, that doesn't mean I didn't make some mistakes. I made a rookie mistake right off the bat with defining the scope of the project. I was still very new to this engine and language, yet I decided to go for this huge project. That was a problem. I'm lucky that I managed to follow through on this, because spending a full year developing one single game has a tendency to be too overwhelming for people still in the learning process. If I could go back and change my plan here, I would change the name of the game to Destination 11 or something like that to reduce the scope by 75%. And I say this for several reasons. One being that the final product would be more fun, since I wasn't stretching the same gameplay out for 3 hours straight. But also, if I only spent a few months on this game rather than a year, I could have moved on to make other games, branching into different genres and learning even more stuff. And it's kind of funny. Playing through this game again, I noticed a lot of stuff left unfinished, because I vaguely remember coming to the realization that this project wasn't really living up to the expectations I had for it starting out. But really, that was fine with me. I accomplished what I set out to do, which was to learn how to make games with love. And I certainly wouldn't be at the skill level I'm at today without that initial push through the learning process. So if you're just starting out with a new engine or game development in general, my recommendation is just jumping right in. Use some learning resources to get your fundamentals in place, and just make something. Even if it turns out bad, it's still something, and the experience will make your next project so much better. Also, I never published this game, so don't even try and find it.